Down in the bottom right-hand corner is your zoom. And as mine set at 48%. That's right here in the bottom of the application. And you can click the plus and the minus to make it bigger or smaller. You can also click that number. If you click the number, yes, mine says 150% here. If you click that, it should pop up with, you might have to double click, but it'll pop up with numbers. And you can choose 100% or 200%. No, 100% is fine. But you can adjust that at any time. If you have trouble seeing, you just adjust that. I was playing with this earlier just to refresh my memory, and the things I was putting on my screen were so small I couldn't see them. So it, that 48% is too small, at least for me. Did that zoom in?
I got it. I don't know why.
Where's that top?
Yeah, she's.
Oh, you're fine. Yours is go back there. This up there right here. Right there. Go to the left. You can use the touchpad.
Touchpad.
That's a good idea.
What it is. I was going to say, that's why I'm glad you said that, because I thought.
I think that far left one is the left mouse button, and the far right one is the right mouse button. Yeah. I think the middle one is that red button that's in the middle of the mouse. No, this would be only if you purchase it separately. Now, those ones we'll show in the spring are for completely free, and they'll run on about anything. They don't use a lot of resources. Okay. Another place where you can make it bigger is across the top. You see File, Home, Insert, Page Design, Mailings, Review, and View. If you click the View tab, then you'll see a zoom box. And within this zoom box, you can do the drop down on the 100% there. And you can change that 100%, 150, whatever you want. You can even type in a number there if you want. So if you want to type in 120, you press enter. You'll zoom in at 120%.
Mine crashed.
Yours crashed?
Yeah, it said it has to be restarted.
Okay. If it didn't come back pretty fast, then let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
I think it'll be fast, but we'll see.
I can always look up.
These machines are actually top of the line. Like on one of the computers that I turned on, it did updates before I brought up Publisher, and it went through the updates fairly fast. But we'll see. The what is it?
3%. 5%. That's all right.
We'll still see. If it isn't a minute or two, let me know, and I'll grab one of those computers behind you and put it there. the view tab is right here.
Right.
Okay. And then you can do this drop down on the percents here and change it to whatever you want. There's 800%. Here's 10%. Now the 10%, you might say, well, why would you ever want that? Well, if you're just trying to get a view of what it might look like at a distance, because if you're creating a flyer to put up on a bulletin board, what's going to look like maybe far away. That's the only thing I can view why you'd need 10%. I'll change mine back to 100%. This may be a little bit easier to access than this bottom right, especially since I can't click in the bottom right or I shut the recorder off. So I'll probably come here to actually do my changing. Looks like they have a button specifically for making it 100%. If I click whole page, it'll try to show the entire page on the screen, which is at, I think, original 48% or something. So I'll click the 100%, put it back. I would choose 100%. You'll be able to see better. Now, if I go back to the home here, all of these are kind of grayed out. The home tab is right here, if you see where my mouse is circling, more or less. And again, at any point, if you're not seeing the same thing, holler at me, and I'll come look over your shoulder and point where it's at. Is it still updating?
Yeah, that's what I can watch her.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I understand so far.
Okay. Now, in Word, we just start typing. You type your word and so forth. But again, this is like a style, where you're designing. You got like a canvas. And so you're going to put pictures here, you put words here, and kind of do whatever you want. Do you do that quite a bit? Oh, there's, you don't mean publisher.
No, it was a different thing.
Oh, that you can do that on? Yeah, Adobe has one. I can't think what the name of it is. It's I think it's InDesign is what they call it. But it allows that. This is what newspapers will do because they can, and magazines because they can create layouts and so forth. Yeah, it gives you like total control of what you want it to look like. Now here's a draw a text box. And if I, this is under the home tab, under the objects subsection. And then I click this draw text box. Now it's waiting for you to draw it at this point. If you put your mouse down here, it's a black plus. And if you hold your left mouse button down and drag, you'll see it draw a rectangle. Everybody get a box?
Oh, you gotta do a box.
Yeah, under the home, if you choose this draw text box option.
She's drawing, but it's got a nice. Not the wrong one.
Oh yeah, you're just fine. Yeah, you'll have a different size box than me. Now I'm gonna type something there. I'm gonna say welcome to publisher. Welcome to publisher. You can see at 100%, I still have a little bit of trouble seeing that. So that's why the zoom is, they have a big section just on zoom, because with publisher, it seems like you need it a lot more. Now, after you get something typed in, if you move your mouse and you put it over part of the box, specifically the edge, it becomes four arrows. And you can put it over any of these, the edges, to get that to appear. Once it's 4 arrows, if you click with your left mouse button and hold down and move it, then you can move that box anywhere. So again, it's not based upon lines or anything, it's just based upon position on your screen. Everybody get their box to move? Now, you notice that after you drew the box, it switched automatically to this Format tab that you didn't have before. It will do that. Based upon what you're currently working on, it'll give you something specific to just that. The Format tab up here at the top. For example, if I wanted to change the font of this, now if I come here and just change 10, you're going to see nothing happens, because it's based upon whatever you have selected. So if I select Welcome to Publisher, and how I do that is I left mouse click and drag over, and I'm not sure how you do that on a touchpad. Oh, with the touchpad? Everybody good? Okay. If you ask me to do a touchpad up here an hour later, trying to figure out how in the world to left mouse click. After you get that highlighted, now if you go and change this to 18, I'm into the Format tab, and up here at the top, then you can choose the font size. Choose it to a different size. Actually, click at that text box. And so now highlight that. Now, I don't know why they got both formats. Choose the second format.
You were choosing the wrong one then.
Then you can change the size. Change that to 10.
I know, it's 20 backwards. It was up to 16.
Adobe InDesign. InDesign.
It's like anyway, I used to do that for years. I could do the same thing, but it seemed a lot easier. Maybe it's not easier for
You're used to it. That's usually what we learn first is what we like. It's kind of universal truth. CorelDraw, I think, used to, well, or was that a Photoshop type? Corel, Corel, they had one.
I know you said it.
Yeah, they had a whole range of, and one of them was like a publisher type thing.
Yeah, and I didn't have this, but I made, I just had a tape as a marker, but I made all kinds of brochures and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, and that's what this is for. This is not really a word processor. You know, it's not meant for you to type like Word and so forth. It's meant for brochures and flyers and business cards and yeah. hmm Yeah, these are wonderful packages. Adobe really does have the best one, but it's pretty expensive. So okay, so I've changed that. You can also change the font. So if you want to find one that's a little bit more pleasing, here's a black adder, something. Book Antiqua, I like that one. As you put your mouse over the font, it'll show you what it's going to look like. So you don't have to choose it even. You just put your mouse over it and it shows you. So you go ahead and choose one of them. Doesn't matter which one. Whichever one looks pleasing to you. Choose the drop down up here. And this is under the second format, under the text box tools. Oh, and you have to select it again. Um, and then go ahead and select it. Click over there and go ahead and click one. Now, now you have to focus on here so you can write in this and drag it over. Format here. Font is right. Change the different font and choose that drop down arrow there. Yeah.
With the same fonts are the ones I have.
Yeah, the fonts you see there, for the most part, standard in Windows. So you go from one computer to another computer, you're going to see the same fonts. Now, there are some packages you can install that will put a bunch of new fonts on there, but those are the standard ones in Windows. Now, here there's this B. The B is for bold. And again, it's whatever you have selected will be bold. So if I click that, it'll make it bold. Doesn't make much difference here because Berlin, Sans, FB, Demi is already bold. So you wouldn't see much difference there. Italics, that italicizes whatever you have selected. That's interesting. There it goes. U is underlined. So you can underline that. We'll talk more about those here in a minute. Up here you see a big A with a up arrow, and here you see a little smaller A with a down arrow. I moved it down, it's placed it differently. But that increases the font size, and this decreases the font size. So instead of choosing the numbers, you can choose this big A to increase it, make it bigger. You can choose this to make it smaller. So I keep doing that, make it smaller. Do this, make it bigger. Shut the underline off. This A with an eraser on it. Mine's a red eraser. This clears all formatting. So if I click that, it gets rid of everything. Gets rid of my font I just had chose, my size, everything. So if you're wanting to start over, then this is how you start over. Just like every other Windows package, it has an undo. Did I leave my scissors over there? I lost my scissors. I had them. That's a second. Okay. Usually with my pointer, it's like my pointer. I think my wife has a yardstick. I'll bring one of those. This right up here is your undo button. Yeah. You can also do a Control Z if you remember that. And probably there's another option under one of these also, but usually that or Control Z is what we use. If you want, just to see how to use the tool. When I undo it, then it puts it back all my changes. Okay, here it is. The one right next to it is the redo. So if you want to redo whatever you just did, you click that arrow. Now, this is Subscript and this is Superscript. That's if you were creating like something math related, like you're doing x squared and want to put a second power, you could do that. If you're writing a research paper, you can make it smaller. But it's not just restricted to that. If you're making something clever, happiness, play on math, and workshops going to square the people's happiness. Then you can use that. But again, it just applies to whatever you have highlighted. Now, this right here changes your case. And they're really small, so it's kind of hard to see. Right to the right of it is a little drop down arrow. Like I say, it's small, it's real hard to see, the little drop down arrow. And some of these have drop down arrows. That means there's more options down below. Laser pointer would be good, but except for if I tried to point at it, I would shake so much that you wouldn't see what I was. So, but yeah, you're really right, that would be. So if I do that drop down, you see here's normal, small caps, all caps. That's as if you want to change them. Now you notice in this one, when I choose small caps, does it look like it changed everything to small caps? All caps is obvious. Everything's uppercase, isn't it? But if I choose it small caps, it doesn't look like the W and P went to small caps. And that's based upon the font that I chose. So like if you chose a different one, you chose Algerian. And then if I do that, yeah, that one does it too. I couldn't tell you which ones would actually be all small. Because I deliberately made W and P uppercase when I typed it. Here's the font color. That's kind of a nice one. Like if you want to choose a different color, if you do the arrow right beside it, then it will drop down with the different colors you can choose. And it's got our standard colors here, or kind of variations of it. So like these are all the oranges. If you want more colors, then you can choose this more colors option. It'll pop up with I'm not sure what you call that, a gradient type.
Right next to it, A, B next to it.
No, I'm on the
Oh, the A?
the A with the black line underneath.
Okay.
And then I chose the little drop down arrow to the other side. Got it. If you just choose this, it'll change it to black, which is already black. But you have to choose that drop down arrow right there. I chose red, or change it to red. If I chose orange, change it to orange. If I choose more colors, pops up with this. And I have no clue what to call that, if that's a gradient or what. But you can choose different colors inside there. Do you find a little arrow? Yeah, you got to highlight it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like you got to click there one time to get its attention. You got to click it and hold down. Second one.
colors are like important to choose. We have seen this in colors that make it harder for us. I can't remember which colors now. Well, that's kind of, if you look around and change it, you'll find that certain.
Unfortunately not.
They really need to.
Yeah.
They're gonna work the same.
Yeah, but it's,
Now you can choose more colors, but that will be.
I think we probably do better with darker colors.
As I find out as I'm getting older, I don't hear certain sounds hardly at all.
Yeah. No.
But I haven't noticed colors yet, so that's interesting.
You don't notice unless I get in writing and then, I don't know, I just notice. But I know I'm older than you. Radios. You didn't know, you used to listen to programs on radio. You didn't know anything about radio?
Not programs.
The program. Like, you know. Oh, you didn't know that? No.
Oh, well, I knew that people did that, but that wasn't when I was young.
How much younger is we are? That's why your eyes haven't caught up to ours.
I can't see very well, but yeah. Okay. So let's see, I guess I ought to choose color since I was talking about it. I'll make that red. Now mine probably looks different than yours, and you don't see the red unless you take your highlighting off. So like if I click here, then I see it in red. So if you're not seeing your color you chose, if you click to the right of that, you'll see it then. Now mine's too big, or my wording is too big for my text box. On this text box, it's got little circles, squares. So you got circles here, and actually, I think that's a square. These allow you to resize. So what you do is you put your mouse over that, and it becomes a different shape. We'll see what it is here in a minute. You click and hold down with your left mouse button, and then you can resize it by moving that out. Now, the box doesn't actually appear when you print. So this is just for formatting purposes. Okay, now mine's, I've resized it, but notice how mine is left aligned, isn't it? Now I got this box selected, and my first the format on the right-hand side, that's a text box. You see there's the next box over here says alignment. And if I choose the I'll choose this one here. That's the center top. You notice there's other ones down here. This one is the center middle of the text box, and this is the center bottom of the text box. This one is left align top, left align middle, left align bottom, and right align top, right align middle, right align bottom. So again, it's just giving you a little bit more flexibility than Word, though you can do all of those in Word. It just isn't as easy. Well, if you know where it's at. But do you center like on the bottom?
I go up to the top like this.
Actually,
Maybe I'm not communicating what I do then.
no, I think I know what you're talking about. But like this here, if my box is bigger, if I do the center bottom,
Oh,
it centers it on the bottom of the text box.
okay, now I don't do that. I usually make it.
And yeah, you're right. It's very easy the alignment to have on there, and you can do this in Word, but again, Word is not based upon like a text box.
No, it's
Right. And so you choose any one of these, you can put it in whatever position you want. And I'd have to even research to see how in the world you do it in Word. Because I know you can vertical line, the top, vertical line the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the standard ones in Word are these right here. Left align, center, right align. But there's a way through the paragraph somehow. Yeah, I don't do it very much. I think I should have one time in a class, but it's not something you do on a regular basis. Okay, I'm going to resize my box here. Now, if I put my mouse, let me move that down so you can see it. Let me first demonstrate what it's going to do. If I put my mouse here and click and hold down, I can change it to an angle. So, where I'm putting my mouse at, you do have to have the text box chose. So if you don't got text box chose, click somewhere in the text here. And then this, I don't know what that is, circle? That top circle there, you put your mouse over it, it becomes a black circle arrow. And if you hold down on your left mouse button and don't tilt it. Exactly. Yeah. And now you can move it to a different part of the screen if you want. Remember, if you put your mouse over one of the edges, it becomes those 4 black arrows. You click and hold down, and you can move it over to wherever you want. This is where you can get a fancier flyer, brochure you're creating that you can put on the bulletin board. Now mine's too small. I'm not very good at designing flyers. Mine are very block-like because you think you really would see this very far away. No, and that's what that zoom gives you. Like if I come up here to the view and I choose some of these options here, I could do the drop down and change it to a different percent. Might not look that small, but it wouldn't catch my. Well, actually, it might. And look at that little escape route over there for the fire or tornado thing, and it's probably about that size. But that's 20 feet away. But again, you can change it. And then as you have this small, you can move this around. So you got a little bit better view of where you want to put it at. I'm going to change it back to 100% though. Now you can put other text boxes on there. So we got that text box. If I go back to home, we go back to draw text box. I can draw another text box on here. My church had a chicken noodle dinner. So, yeah, that seems to be a staple, isn't it, in most churches? Chicken noodle dinner. They're having a trunk or treat. I think what they call it. I think everybody probably has one. Trunk or treat this Thursday. And actually, I think that's all that's on the docket. Thanksgiving something probably. Thanksgiving something. Okay, so I typed some text and I pressed enter after each one. Of course, they're all too small, aren't they? So if I click them and highlight them, by the way, I deliberately typed Thanksgiving wrong. Do you notice, does it tell me a little red squiggly, tell me I typed it wrong? No, this isn't a word processor. This isn't like Word. It won't give you that automatic clue saying, hey, you typed something wrong. So you have to be careful of that. Now, to increase the size of all of them, I have to highlight them. So I'm holding down my left mouse button and dragging until they're all highlighted. And remember up here, we have our big A with the up arrow that you can increase the font size. Now, if you increase the font size past the size of the text box, you notice that the little boxes here turned red, didn't they? So if I click one of these and hold down and drag, I now can see everything. So that's kind of a check. Such if you do formatting such that it disappears off your screen or off the little text box, it'll warn you if those little red. Did we get the red to appear? Like if I have made it big where it won't show everything, you see how I turned these red? That red means that you need to resize your text box because you're not seeing everything. So then if you put your mouse over the red, whatever, square or circle, and drag, then you get it to appear. Now the alignment, you do not have to have it highlighted. So like if I did the center, then that would center that. If I click on this line and click center, centers that. And if I click on this and click center, it centers that. That's kind of the way it works in Word. You don't have to have the entire line selected in Word. You just have to be online. So you notice it's got a little bit of the word processor right here, doesn't it? Because I pressed enter after each one. Let's see. I think I'm going to change colors on these. So make this one red, or whatever that color is. Make this one orange. Change that one to gray. Now, colors are really nice if you have a color printer, but you have to keep that in mind. You know, it may look fantastic on your screen, but you print a color printer and it looks horrible. Just like before, you can put your mouse on that upper circle, and you can rotate it, and you can move it. If we get some text added, changed in some manner. By the way, whatever package you're using, they kind of all follow the same conventions. You know, there's going to be some way to rotate the text. There'll be some way to move a text box. They just how they differ is like a little functionality like that. Now, if I go back to home, we looked at the draw text box, and there's pictures. I'm not sure how this will work, but we'll see. On your computer, make sure you're connected to the Wi-Fi. So put that little monitor-looking thing with whatever that is, and Callie guesses what you want. I'm not sure why I'm connected. I got the wire going in, but maybe I was showing that in the previous class. How you connect again is you just click Callie guessed. It'll go ahead and connect. Okay, so now I go back to the Home tab, and I want to click the there it is. I'm clicking the pictures right here. Yeah, you can. Uh-huh. You want to see that? Okay. Let me show dropping a picture, and then I'll go show you how to change that. Assuming I remember where it's at. If I click pictures, you can save from a file, and there's a Bing image search. The OneDrive you may or may not have. That's as if you're connected to the cloud. Like if I've stored my pictures up there on the internet, then no matter where I'm at, I can access them. That's what the OneDrive is. If I go to Outer Mongolia, I can go to OneDrive and access my pictures. If you upload your family photos, do you really care if anybody gets your family photos? Well, yeah, you might worry about that. But a hacker, would you worry about a hacker getting great grandma's picture? Probably not, right? What I worry about more is what if my house burns down and I lose every picture I've ever had? So that'd be a way you could, if you had them scanned in, you could store them up there, and then your house is gone, and you still have every family memory of photo-wise. I had a friend that was in that Andover tornado. Remember that tornado went through way back when? You know, yeah, really, and hit the town real hard. Her and her son were seeing a tornado coming toward them, and they got in the car and took off. And they tell you not to do that. When she came back, there was nothing left of her house. Everything was gone. And she says you don't realize the treasures you lose when you lose every picture, everything. Coke Industries, everybody donated, but you can't replace pictures. Anyway, digress. The Bing image search, where it says search Bing, I click on that blank right there. I'm clicking right in there. And I'm going to type chicken. Hopefully I didn't bring up anything inappropriate. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's got to be safe. Okay, I'll type Thanksgiving. And then press enter. Now it'll bring up the different pictures that go along with Thanksgiving. And if I like Snoopy, then if I click this, it'll put a little check mark there. You can check multiple ones if you want to bring in multiple pictures. Like if I want that one too, I'd click that, and it'll put a little check mark on both of those. To uncheck it, you just click it again, and it'll take the check mark off. And I'll bring in 3 pictures. So I got those 3, and I'll click Insert. It'll say, do you want to convert to file? And I'll just click OK. Oh, that's nice. I brought in the one I liked anyway. Now your images will be over here on the side because it's waiting for you to place them. And you put your mouse over, it becomes 4 arrows. You can click and drag. And if you want them separated, you just click off to the side, and then you click whichever one you want to move, and you can move just that one by itself.
I don't have any,
Don't have any pictures?
I don't have any, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, the one right. And see where it says search beam, right there. That's beam. Oh. Interesting.
What?
Yeah.
But see, she's got that thing on the top, I don't have that.
Oh, I'll show you how to put that back one too. But go ahead and click this one and this one. That first one gives me an error. Yeah. And you see a little check mark here?
Oh, hang on. Like, I don't put it in there.
You don't have to. If you click anywhere, it should. And then you click the insert. Now, see this little push pin right here? If I click that, that'll stay there
Save them, did you say?
now. When I click the push pin, it'll stay down.
Oh, stay down. Oh, okay. It kept going away, okay.
That's actually a functionality of it. Because that's pretty hard to see, isn't it? How small it is. If you want to hide that bar, and this is true in all Office products, Word, Excel, all of them, is if this is taking up too much of your screen and you want that space available, there's a little up arrow over here that'll hide that. That's what happened to yours. And then to get it to appear, you click one of your menu choices, it'll drop down. And to get it to push, stay, there's a push pin at that point. Let me show you. If I click the up arrow, see how it hides it? And that gives me a lot more screen space that I can work on the document. But now to get it to appear, you have to click one of these menus and it pops down. If I click down here, see how it hides again? But if I do that and see how there's a little push pin over here, I know it's real small. You click that push pin and it'll stay there permanently. Now, if you got your pictures over on the side here, click on one of them and drag it, hold down your left mouse button and drag it onto your main page here. Now, if you click one of them, you should see a little white circles and the white squares there. And if you click that, you can resize your document, or resize your image, I should say. Now, if you move it up onto something, it tries to intelligently tell what it should look like. So in some cases, you may see it shift a little bit. But this Happy Thanksgiving is covering things, isn't it? You see up here, I got this selected, and there's this format available. You have to have your picture selected. Over here, there's a bring forward and send backwards. If I click the send backwards and keep clicking it, it's now behind the text. Kind of hard to see because my text isn't very out there. If I did bring forward and keep doing that, see how that's covering Snoopy? Let me see if I make that a little bigger. Okay, so that right there is covering Snoopy. But if I have the Thanksgiving chosen, I say send backwards. See how Snoopy's on top now? And do you see the rest of my words for the chicken noodle dinner and all that? If I keep clicking send backwards, then you'll see it appear. Again, this is a kind of a formatting tool. You know, so you have to think of it in putting layers down. Like if you're creating like a collage, you know, where you put one picture on top of, you know, covering part of another picture type of deal, then that's the idea. And obviously, I'm not very good at creating brochures. When they become my chicken noodle dinner, they might come to try to give me tips on what I shouldn't do. Now this one here, if I bring that forward, do you see how you can see through part of it? That's because it's transparent. But Snoopy is not transparent. Like if I did a send backwards, you see how Snoopy, when I move it around, you can't see through the white, can you? We'll eventually look at how to make something transparent. But in case you're wondering why is that doing that, that's the reason. Some of you may have been, how many of you took the paint.net class? Oh, okay. Well, you're going to see paint.net again. So that's because paint.net is a way we can make something transparent. And I have to research it. I think, if I remember right, there's a way to do it even in here. But I have to refresh my memory on that. Yeah, I'm going to have to play with that and see. Okay. Now, if I go back to my home, we've looked at the draw text box, we looked at the pictures. Now I'm going to look at the table. It says table is a great way to organize information within your document. Now I need to scroll down. So this right on the right-hand side here, there's this bar. It's really hard to see. It's right here. If you click that with your mouse, you can move it down. If you just click down in this bar right here, it'll move down quite a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a table. So I click this table. It asks me how big do I want my table. And maybe I want, maybe I want a 3 by whatever that is, 5. So I moved my mouse down to right here. And you can see in orange, everything it says that my table will be built on. So I'll tell you how big your table is. No. You know, I don't know what it is, to be honest. We'll see how it changes here in a minute. I think it's based upon the dimensions of how big you draw your table. Like if you draw it 3 inches wide, I think each one would probably be about 1 inch. So like then if I click right there, I was wrong. I thought you could draw it. It does look like 1 inch though, doesn't it? It's going from 2.5 to, yeah, I think it's about 1 inch. Now to resize this. You notice how as I move my mouse around, it becomes different items. It really becomes different items. There it became 4 blackbirds. Which is a screen should not have changed that. What do you think the 4 black arrows are? Yeah, so move it sideways like that. Right there, if I can get my mouse just right, it becomes 2 vertical lines with arrows on each side. If I click and hold down, you can resize it. This changes the size of your columns, or rows, as the case may be. So now that I put my mouse over here, it's got the 2 vertical lines with arrows on each side. If I click with my left mouse button and hold down, I can resize those columns. If I put it on this, click and hold down, I can resize the rows. So you can make that one bigger. There is a way to do that. There it is. If I have them all selected, see how your width is over here? There's that width of the table. Let me click just one of them. That's width of the table. Where is it located at? Let me right click on it. I know it's there somewhere. I don't know the answer. See, it has to be in table tools. That's really going to bother me. It almost acts like that you can't do it. But I may be confusing this with Excel. I mean, you can eyeball it and do it, but that's not what you're asking. You're asking for a little bit more precision than. Okay, so I got the table here. I can move it down. Assuming I was grabbing the right thing. There you go. You can type different things in here, like name, phone, and side dish. Under the design, if I just have this chose and I chose borders, you can choose bottom border, top border, left border. And where I'm at is I clicked it in one of the cells, and then I went to the design tab up here. You can make the line thick. Instead of 1/2, you can make it 6. And then you can say bottom border. So that makes it thick. This would be like if you're creating a sign-up sheet for the event. You could have them have a name, they could put phone number down, and the side dish they're going to bring. So this one, I could choose a drop down here, choose bottom border, choose this one, bottom border. If you have multiple ones selected, like if I click down here and drag, you'll see it highlighting several cells. If you want to apply borders to all of them at once, that's what you do. You gotta highlight them like that, and you choose. I don't want that thick of a border. 2 1/4, and choose all borders. So now when I print this out, there'd be clear lines for people to draw in or to write in to say what they're bringing to the event. The colors, yeah. Or you want to color the borders? Oh, okay. Then I changed the thickness to half a whatever that says. I chose 2 color. I chose borders. I chose all borders. That saves you time. If you want to change on all of them, you just click down the bottom cell and left mouse button down and drag it. Drag it. Then it'll highlight whatever. And then whatever you got highlighted, then you can go with that design tab. There. And if you want to change the thickness of the border, thickness is right there. And now the border down here. Now to change that, click down here in the bottom cell. Down in the bottom cell. Up a little bit. Click and hold down to the left mouse. You click and hold down to the left mouse. Actually, you hold on it, click down on it, and then move your mouse. Yeah. And then what it'll highlight part of your.
How I get rid of it.
Oh, that
My stuff up here.
It changes based on what you have selected. It'll change based on what you have selected. I think that makes sense. Okay, so now I got back on the screen. See, I'm gonna click down in this cell. With my left mouse button. Hold down and drag. The mouse is there. So go ahead and click down to this cell right here. And click and hold down the left mouse button and move the mouse down. Yeah, that's perfect. Whatever you want. Now that you've got those selected, put the design tab here at the top. We'll change the thickness. Change that by 2.5. And then we're going to choose the borders option. You might have to click the down arrow. And then choose all borders. Then that'll apply that formatting to all those CPF sites. Yeah. Yeah, we'll focus more on these basics. Like we'll actually create a flyer next time that would be more what you'd want to handle. Highlight whatever you want to change the borders on.
Oh, I got the borders.
If you click and hold down in the bottom right cell,
I don't know my left.
and then click with the left mouse button, hold down and drag the mouse to the left. And up. Down one. Okay. And then let up. Now, click the design tab.
Okay.
And if you want to change the width of the border, you do that. Not half, choose that. The next one down. And you probably do the down arrow to the right of it. And that'll apply to all the borders.
Okay.
Now, just like everything else, I should ask if anybody's allergic to dogs because my dog's been all over me. Everybody's allergic to dogs? Okay. We got rid of our furniture, so we have new furniture coming today. So there was no place for my dog to be, so she was up in the bed. And okay, so now I got name, phone, and side dish. If you highlight like name, we can change the change what this looks like. If I come up here to home, remember we have calibri and size and so forth. I can change a font to Bauhaus 93, whatever that is. I can choose center. You notice on this, there's no center top, center bottom, center middle. It's because we're working on a table. So it doesn't have the same flexibility. I don't like that bow. No one can pronounce it. So change that, make it bold. Spend a lot of time on getting it to look just right. Now let's say I want to apply that to the other ones. You notice how I have name selected? There's this little format painter here. This is probably the best tool that you'll ever use in Word, Excel, any Office product. It's in Word. It's everywhere. What this does is if I like what I've really put my time into here, whatever you did to yours is fine. Then if you have it clicked, if you click that format painter, appears like it didn't do anything. But now if you come down here and you click and highlight one of these other ones, it'll take all of your formatting and apply it to whatever you highlighted. Yeah, this is one of the best things they put into. It saves you so much time. So you don't have to individually select each one of these and apply it. And there's my my Thanksgiving sign-up sheet. Not very good, is it? I'll try to make it look better next time, so it's actually something we'd want to hang up on the wall. Now we're gonna again hit these heavy on all these techniques. So I know this is like a first time, and you may be struggling on some of these, but you'll do it over and over to where it'll be second nature. No, actually, we got four of these. Oh, okay. Yeah, we would just be building upon this, but I'll be recording them. So, and how you find them is if you go to you got Facebook? If you go to Facebook and you search for Cali Computer Science, you'll see the post under there. You don't have to turn it off unless you want to. You can just close it. Oh, yeah, see ya. You want class on Thursday? Well, it depends. You want to have class on Thursday? What? I'll be here Thursday, so if you want to come, that's fine. But you're not going to lose out because I'll review on Tuesday whatever we cover. So, my youngest is 19 now, and I have no grandkids. So yeah. So I'll be here Thursday, but definitely don't sacrifice being with your family. Much more important.